Hi guys, and welcome to episode 21 of Auntie Danny Knits. It's been a while. It's been a month and a half, I think, since I last podcasted. But I have an excuse. I got married. I'm a Mrs. now. It's crazy. So yeah, that happened. And that was awesome. So that's why I haven't had a chance to podcast. We had a ton of family in, my parents, and my best friend, and my sister and her husband, and the 3 kids, and their dog, and my parents' dog, plus our 3 dogs, plus the basement roommates made for a really full house. So things were a little bit crazy for about 2 weeks there. Maybe a little bit more than that. But yeah, we got married and it was wonderful. It was everything that I wanted it to be. It was great. If you've been following me on Instagram, you've probably seen it. Or if you follow my projects on Ravelry, or if you're a member of the Into the Wool group, or if you're a member of which podcast? Oh, the We Are Yarn podcast with Mandy Cat. Amanda, she is doing a sweater knit along and a sweater dress counts. So I entered the dress when it was finished. But for those of you who didn't see, here's my dress. Isn't that awesome? I'm so excited about it. I'm happy with how it turned out. I am so happy with all of the handmade touches for our wedding. So I'm going to go straight into finished objects, but I'm also going to throw in a bunch of wedding talk because it all kind of goes together. So I'm going to show the dress later though. A couple of things I finished. I finished the Claremont cowl. It was a cowl by Sarah Price. I used Manos del Uruguay yarn Alegria in the color Atlantico, and I don't actually have it right now because it was a gift for my best friend and bridesmaid Donna. So this is what it looked like. And yeah, I was very happy with it. It was a really comfortable pattern. It wasn't complicated. I had it memorized after like a row. It's not complicated. It's more of a recipe really than a pattern. But it was beautiful, and I got to use up pretty much all the yarn. I left just enough to put in a square on my blanket. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. And Donna loved it. The color was exactly her color, that turquoisey blue. So I'm very happy with that. My second FO to show you is a pair of socks for Jim. I called them his groom socks. I used the Malabrigo sock in the color Impression the Sky. It's the same color I used for my dad's socks. This is kind of the shade of blue that I was originally going for the wedding. We ended up going with something a little bit more vibrant, but I really like this color. And it's just a fish lips kiss heel, nothing particularly fancy about it. He was having problems with his socks sliding down in his shoes a little bit, so I made them a little bit taller than I have been making them, and I made the foot itself about 4 rows longer because I noticed, he wasn't saying anything about it, but I noticed that the heel was sliding down a little bit on his last couple of pairs. So there's these. I also, another wedding related one, I knit a pillow for the ring bearer. And this is also that same Malabrigo sock in Impression the Sky. And then the yarn around the edging, I just crocheted a little border. Nothing too fancy, just single crochet for 2 rows, and then it was single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet. So there's a teeny little bit of scallopy edging to it. But this wasn't any particular pattern. I just cast on a bunch of stitches until they looked to be about the right width, knit about twice what I wanted it to be, and then I didn't even really seam up the sides, I just crocheted them together. So it was nice and simple. I did a little handle along the back so that he could hold it gently, and I knew it was not going to happen like that. It was a brilliant thought, but the ring bearer was 2, so it was mostly a handle so he could do this. which is why if you'll see there are those little fake metal-y rings on there. We did not put the real rings on here. We knew that would be a bad plan. So this is really mostly for show, but I was really happy to have that. The dress. It is obviously done because I wore it for my wedding. So the dress was the Maddie dress by Carrie Helene Rain. It's a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. And actually, if you go look at the pattern page now, you'll see my dress because the designer contacted me and asked if she could use it, so that's exciting. It wasn't this wrinkly when I got married, but after the wedding, it ended up, I put it back in the bag because I just needed to not deal with putting things away. We retired, man. It was a long day. I don't know if people don't tell you how exhausting it is to get married, or if they tell you and you just ignore it because you don't believe them. But yeah, it's exhausting. Anyway, so this is my dress, and last time you saw it, I think I had the shoulder seams done. It was my first time doing a shoulder seam like that. It was just a mattress stitch, but thank you to my friend Barbara from Knit Night who taught me how to do that. They turned out great. And then the sleeves, I actually incorporated another pattern. I used the sock arms pattern by Stephanie Lotvin, and I used that with the instructions to pick up around the armhole and knit a set-in sleeve, because I haven't done a lot of seaming and I didn't want my wedding dress to be a guinea pig. Even though this seam turned out nice, I was a little bit worried about setting in an arm because the Maddie dress calls for a sleeve to be knit flat and then sewn in. So what I did was I followed her pattern for setting it in, and then I did about an inch-ish of just straight knitting, and then I started again on the pattern that was at the bottom of the dress, and I knit 2 repeats of it, and then just sort of winged it at the bottom to do a little bit of garter so that it matched the 2 rows of garter that I had at the bottom of the dress. And then around the neckline, it called for a single row of single crochet, but I ended up doing 2 rows of single crochet just because I felt it laid better after I did the second row. But that was my dress. I finished it with lots of time. I finished it about a week ahead of time, so I felt good about that. I was going to reblock the skirt on the morning of the wedding, but time management is not always my strong point. And honestly, it didn't need it. It laid nicely because I had blocked it before. And I think that if I had blocked it out more, I don't know that it would have made a difference visually because of the way it fell. So I'm not too worried about that. But that was my dress. And speaking of handmade things for the wedding, we did a lot ourselves. Actually, to the point where the photographer said to one of my bridesmaids, I think I'm lucky that she hired a photographer because you guys did everything else. Well, yeah, we kind of did. So we made our own little program fans, and on the back it's got the names of our parents and our attendants, but I'm not going to show you that because privacy. But we did these ourselves. This was just a kit from, I picked it up at Joann's. It was super easy, super cute. I added the blue bows that matched the girls' dresses. Our favors, I don't have any left actually because everyone took them because they were awesome. But Jim used his CNC machine to do little cherry coasters, cherry wood coasters with the shape of the state of Georgia with a little heart in the center, which was really awesome. My sister and my best friend, my 2 bridesmaids, baked the wedding cake. My sister did all of the frosting, and Jim made the cake topper. I love it. And if you can't read it, it says, "So this happened," which is kind of a running joke with the 2 of us now. I was trying to pick out a photo album for our wedding stuff because we decided that we wanted to do, well, he said do whatever you don't want, I don't care. And I decided that I wanted to use the Project Life setup for all of our wedding related things. So I've got bridal showers and pictures of people huddling with my dress and our engagement photos and all of that in there. And Project Life has a set of wedding cards, and they've got a whole bunch of little journaling prompts that we're filling out with things about our first date and how we proposed and all of that. So it's going to be like a whole thing. But I've tried to pick out an album for that. And again, I was at Joann's and looking at a whole bunch of different options, and I sent him pictures of a couple of different ones, and the one that I really liked, I thought was a little bit cheesy. I wasn't sure if he was going to like it, but it was the one that he picked out, and it's this sort of baby blue with gold writing on the front that says, "So this happened," and that's just been our thing, and it works for us. So yeah, we got married, and there was so much knitwear. My dad had the knit socks that I made for him. I think that might have made him cry a little bit, but we were both being very stoic about it. Gave it to him the night before, the morning of, before we got dressed and left the house, so that, he'd have them to put on, but so it wouldn't be making him cry right beforehand. Anyway, it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and a friend of mine took video of the whole thing, and I honestly had expected her to just set up her camcorder and record the ceremony so that we could watch it back in a year or two. But she and her husband, they recorded the whole ceremony. We tried to live stream it for my cousins who couldn't make it, and aunts and uncles and stuff, but it didn't work out. But you may see a clip of it up on YouTube because he managed to record it even though it didn't live stream, so that was cool. So yeah, I thought she was just going to record the ceremony and we'd, watch it again in a year and go, aw. But apparently she had been recording little bits of us getting ready, and at one point I looked over and she was recording just people talking. What? But apparently she's doing this whole thing and editing it all together, and it's going to be like a really awesome wedding video, which is amazing. So my friends are awesome and I love them. So I think I've bored you with enough wedding talk. Let's move on. So now that all the wedding dress and other wedding accessories are done, I needed to cast on new things. So the first thing I cast on as a married lady was a pair of socks for my husband. I'm just going to keep referring to him like that because it's awesome because I do that now. Anyway, I cast on a pair of Star Wars socks, Saga socks. This is the 4th in the series that I'm doing. They're just going to be a Fish Lips Kiss heel. This is the Mustache Yarn Perfect Self-Striping in the color Luke. The last ones I finished, I think, were Obi-Wan. So we're getting there. I think I've got 12 or 13 skeins total to get through. So this will put me about a third of the way through. So those are living in the same official sock knitter bag that all my Star Wars Saga socks have been living in. The next thing I cast on was for my new friend, Corinne. No, not Corinne. Good grief. Sorry, Connie. I don't know where Corinne came from. Nope, there's not even a Corinne who's a designer on my list. Sorry, Connie. But they're for my new friend, Connie. And it's a pair of socks. This is actually for the Into the Wool Knit Along #1. And I am using a bag from my friend Rick, who's Whimsy Stitches, to keep these in. So they're just a simple pair of socks again. This is some Patents North America stretch socks in the color Pumpkin Jacquard. So they do have a little bit more stretch than just a usual pair of socks because the yarn's got a little bit of stretch to it. I'm using the Fish Lips Kiss heel pattern, mostly because I've had pretty good luck making socks for people who aren't actually here by using that pattern. So we'll see if that keeps up. Hopefully they do. But that is the second thing I cast on, and I do need to hurry up and get these done so that I can get them sent to her before the end of the month so that she can try them on and model them for me for a picture so we can get some extra points. The third thing I cast on is more socks. This one is also going to count for the Into the Wool knit along because it is another Whimsy Stitches product. It's one of his little needle keepers, but this is a tube which is going to be socks. at my local yarn shop, we're doing a class next Saturday, so that's coming up soon. But I'm calling it Socks from a Tube. So it's basically an afterthought heel and toe sock. But there are a bunch of ladies who are very intimidated by the idea of knitting socks. For some reason, the toe and the heel are super intimidating for them. But they didn't seem at all scared by the idea of just knitting a big long tube and then doing some stuff. Except maybe for the cutting their knitting part. They were a little worried about that. But this is going to be done by the next time I podcast. And that is using some Deborah Norville Serenity sock in the color Lavender Topaz. And the last thing I've been working on has been some NICU noggins. I'm not going to show you all of them because there are a whole pile of them, but I'll show you a couple of selections of the little teeny tiny NICU noggins that I've been knitting. I think I had some more tiny ones too. Got some gray ones and a bunch of red ones. So I've got a bunch of these, and this is my purse knitting right now because they're easy to just pick up and whip it out and put it down and not worry about it. So that is what I've been working on. I've been good about not shopping, partly because all my money's been going to wedding stuff and because all my knitting had been wedding knitting. But I did buy some yarn. I went with my mom to the yarn shop while she was here visiting and got some Cascade 128 Superwash multis, and this is in the color 117, which is camo. So it's got some nice greens and blues and browns, and these are colors that she really likes because she needs a new hat. I said, I can do a hat. So this yarn has a purpose. As soon as I finish one of these pairs of socks, I'm going to cast on her hat. Although really, I don't need to be in too much of a rush for it because by the time I finish it, it should not be too cold and snowy for her anymore. So I might just hang on to it till the next time she comes to visit. The finished hat, not the yarn. I do want to get the hat done as soon as I can. So I was looking back to see what episode this was going to be, and I flipped back through my notes and I realized that this is basically my first podiversary. The first podcast was published on April 9th of last year, so it's been a year that I've been doing this, guys. So 21 episodes in a year, that's not bad. If I'm doing one every 2 weeks, that means I only missed 4 weeks total. And for a little while I was sick, and then I was, getting married, so that kind of ties things up. So I'm super excited about that. And what I've decided to do is start a knit along because, well, I want to celebrate, and also because I'm doing so many socks. I'm going to call it the Sock It To Me knit along. The rules are super simple. All you have to do is go to the thread in the podcast group. You have to be a member of the group, and you have to post a picture of any socks that you finished in 2018. 1 picture per post, and no limit to the number of entries. Every time you finish a pair of socks, you can pop them up in there. If they're part of another knit along, pop them up in there. It's just a place to put all your finished socks because I love doing socks. I love showing off my finished socks, and I want you guys to do it too because socks are awesome. Even if it is your purse knitting and you crank out a whole bunch of them every year just because they're socks and you don't think there's anything special, get an entry. Prizes are going to vary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw for a prize on every even-numbered podcast. So every other podcast, so there'll be like 14 prizes a year-ish, except we're already partway through the year, so probably like 10 prizes I'll give out this year. The prizes are going to completely vary depending on what I pull out that day. I do have another needle keeper from Whimsy Stitches. It's not this pattern, it's actually this stripy pattern of the top of my bag. I've got one of those that I got at SAF actually, as intentionally as a prize for the podcast, so I'll be giving one of those away. I'll probably give away some skeins of yarn, sock yarn. I'll probably give away some gauge tools, maybe some wraps per inch tools, maybe even a pair of sock blockers. We'll see. So enter your socks, and every time that I do a drawing, I'm going to draw from the entire thread. So it's not going to be like cut off every month or so you have to do them in a certain amount of time. It's nope, all year. If you've finished socks, if you've already finished socks in 2018, that's cool. Stick them in there. That's fine. I don't mind. So, yeah, there's that. I think that's everything. Well, that's everything from me. But there has been a lot of crafting going on in my household. I had, as I mentioned, I had my mom and dad and my best friend and my sister and brother-in-law and 3 kids all here. And we did stuff. We did so much stuff. And I've got some special guests. So here are my friends.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Which one of you is Bear?
Nora.
Nora. And which one of you is Bug?
Annika.
Annika. And who am I?
Danielle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who am I? Am I Auntie Danny? That's what you call me. And why did you come visit me?
For the wedding.
Was it fun?
Yeah.
And did we do some crafts while you were here?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about what we did.
Colored.
You colored?
Yes.
We did nails. Yeah, that's right. What did we start for Isabel, your doll? Did we start weaving?
Weaving.
And what is it going to be?
Scarf.
A scarf.
Scarf.
And did we work on knitting too?
Yeah.
And everyone worked on knitting?
Yeah.
And who else knits?
Grandma.
That's right. And does Mommy knit yet?
No.
But does she crochet?
Yeah.
And does Auntie Donna knit?
Yeah.
Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
And are you going to come back and visit me again?
Yeah.
And what was your favorite part of your visit?
Yeah.
The nails?
Taking the racket home.
Taking the rocket home? Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Meeting all your work friends.
Meeting all my work friends? Yeah, that was pretty fun too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And?
playing in the playroom. At her work. But the only thing I wanted to happen at the trip is that I got my glasses on and then the wedding happened.
That's right. Those are the best parts, aren't they? All right, can you guys say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Can you tell everyone who you are?
I am Nora.
And tell them how old you are.
6.
And what are we going to do right now?
We're going to show you how to weave.
And these are weaving sticks, and they're from Clover. That's a company that makes them. So we're using 5 weaving sticks, and we used some fun fur.
And
for our
some
work.
yarn.
Yeah, and some fuzzy yarn. And what color is the yarn?
White.
And what color is the
And
fun fur?
blue.
So what are we making?
A scarf.
A scarf. And who's it going to be for?
Me.
All right. So I'm going to hold these, and Nora's going to work the yarn and show you.
Which way do I go?
Then we go that way. Yep, right through there. And then what do you do? Pull it down and pull it. Good job. Good job. And pull it down. And can you tell them how long have you been doing this? When did you learn? Was it on Tuesday?
On Tuesday afternoon.
And what is it today? Thursday?
And today is Thursday, which we're going to be showing you this project.
So you've been doing this only for a couple of days, right?
Right.
But you're pretty good at it, aren't you?
Yeah.
And are you doing any other projects?
Yes.
And are you doing another scarf?
Yes.
And who's the scarf for?
Isabel.
And who's Isabel?
A doll.
A doll. And what kind of doll is she?
An American girl.
And what color scarf are you making for her?
Pink.
And is it all pink?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bright pink for the warp and then a light pink for the weaving. And can you tell them, what are you wearing? Are you wearing a sweater?
A sweater that the person who taught me made.
Can we stop weaving for a moment?
Yeah.
Okay, can you get up on your knees and show them your sweater?
Take it off and show them?
No, you can just wear it, but that way they can see it. And what color is that?
Hot pink.
Is that one of your favorite colors?
Yeah.
And what does it have in the corner over here?
So here you have a little heart that says made with love.
Yeah. And oh, here comes the baby.
Here's my sister who also has a sweater.
Yeah, she's wearing a sweater too. What color is hers?
Purple, and hers also has a heart that says made with love.
And do you have one more sister?
Yeah. And here's the third sister who also has a heart that says made with love. Made with love.
And who made your sweater for you?
Auntie Danny.
Yeah, was it awesome?
Yeah.
So this is my awesome sister Karen.
Hi.
She came to visit me. She was one of my bridesmaids. She was my matron of honor in the wedding.
Matron, because I'm married with 3 kids, which you have probably met by now.
And we craft.
No, we don't craft. What are you talking about?
We craft a little. I mean, I knit everything. And you crochet and bake and decorate cookies.
I only
and-
crochet dishcloths.
Okay.
Let's be honest here. But I scrapbook and I make cards and I do paper crafting and journaling and sewing and a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
And now she's going to be doing some weaving so that Bear can do some weaving because Mom needs to be able to
She's
help.
obsessed with it now.
She's very excited about this whole weaving thing. It's awesome. But wanted to talk to you about one of the things, what we've been doing on our last night together because we're crazy.
Of course.
So tonight we did...
Made a cake.
We did a cake. This is Karen's second cake because she was the awesome one behind the wedding cake, which...
You'll insert a photo here.
Look at her. It's like she's done this before.
Actually, I have never been on a podcast before. This is my first one.
Well,
But
it's
I've
not gonna
watched
be
yours
less.
enough that I know that this is where you insert the photo of the beautiful cake that I did with the beautiful topper that your
she
husband
did.
made.
That's right, he's my husband now. That's so weird to say. But yeah, we did, so tonight we did up a cake for my coworker Wendy because she did some the little votive holders for my wedding with Mr. and Mrs. And so we just did a service trade. She made me some votives and I made her son a cake. And the other thing we did was a project because Karen and the kids are leaving tomorrow.
And we drove here from very, very far away.
So they have several days in a truck together. And so we worked on a little thing for the girls to keep them a little bit more occupied and entertained.
Ta-da! Let's see the light.
The light is a little bit bright in here. This is not my usual
There.
podcast setup. So it is a magnetic lap desk for the car. Nice and padded. And it was super simple. Made out of just
magnetic.
a cookie sheet and some a fat quarter and some polyfill and some hot glue.
It's hot glue. Could have done it a little bit differently. Maybe the next ones we make might be a little bit different. But for
We've learned
tonight,
lessons.
this is perfect.
And it was what?
$3.
$3 a piece.
Of supplies, yeah.
Which
Well,
is
plus
great.
the fat quarters. So.
Yep, but really.
Less than $10
Yeah,
to make
less
3
than-
of them.
And it's going to be great because it's got the lip so that when they have their pencils out, they won't go rolling off, which is
Won't have to clean
awesome.
things out from under the seats of the truck.
And it's got magnets, so I'm hopefully at some point in our journey I'll be able to get some cool magnets and they can play with the magnets. That'll be good for the little bean because she doesn't really color yet because
Yeah.
she's not even 2. So
Give it time. She'll be coloring with the best of them.
exactly. So yeah, that's what we did. We did giraffe pattern for bear and owls.
For Bug.
Closer.
Oh,
There we
those are
go.
super cute.
Owls for Buck. And then Bean got polka dots. I just don't have it over
Yeah,
here.
we haven't actually made hers yet because
She
she's
doesn't
not
really
at
need
stage where
one.
she needs it. No.
She
She'll
kind
get
of just plays with her mini figurine
and her feet.
and her feet.
She likes her piggies.
Exactly. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
what we
just-
did on our last night, and it's now like I don't even know what time.
Ooh,
11
it's
o'clock.
after 11, so we should be in bed because
We're getting up
getting
at
up
6 a.m.
so
so that we can leave and be on the road by 7 because we got to make it to.
somewhere
I don't even know where we're staying. Some state park. We're
about
staying
8
at a
hours
state
away.
park. Maybe 9. We'll see. Depends on the weather. We were supposed to leave today, but there were thunderstorms all through the state next to you guys, so we opted to hold back a day.
Yeah.
And actually, the rain was supposed to start here about 2 hours ago, and it hasn't. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed,
Maybe it missed us.
it's gonna go right past us.
Go a little bit further north. That'd be
Because
nice.
we're staying in a camper. Well, not a camper, our camper. We
Yeah.
brought our camper down, Cubby the trailer, and so I'm hoping that it's not gonna pour rain tonight.
Fingers crossed.
That's all.
But I wanted to make sure that everyone got to meet my awesome sister because she is awesome.
Oh,
We're
thank
both
you.
super crafty, and that's our mom's fault.
I was gonna say we learned from the best of them, our mother.
Who just finished a little purse for the dolls for the girls.
If I can
so-
find it.
as she sneaks off. Yeah, we learned from the best. But tonight, as everyone was sitting watching movies and stuff, Grandma knit. Oh,
She crocheted
she's got it. She crocheted
a little doll
a little doll purse.
because
So-
Auntie Danny spoils my children rotten, and
Just a little.
2 of the 3, when they when they turn 2, she takes them to the American Girl store because we don't have those where we live, and
And they get to pick up
buys
a
them
doll.
a doll.
Now they each only get one. We're not going overboard here, but well, not going
She buys
overboard
them
with
a
the
doll,
dolls.
and then she gets clothes for their birthdays and Christmas and
Yeah,
the
but that's-
wedding, and just because.
See, I'm smart like that because if I get them the fancy doll, that means that for the rest of their childhood, I'm set for presents. If
That's
I can't think of something creative, I just get them another doll thing.
That is very true. My children's dolls have a lot of shoes.
Yeah. Well, but when we were kids, we used to love that American Doll magazine.
And the books.
catalogs.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I remember
they
the books.
came.
My favorite was Molly. She has not been re-released. Your favorite was Samantha.
Samantha.
And she is out right now. Just
But she doesn't have the same clothes, not the same.
yes, she
thing.
does.
But they're not all the same.
Oh, not all of them, but a couple of her outfits have come back.
Well.
Just so you know.
But
But-
point is, when we were kids, we really wanted American Girl dolls.
And our
we
parents
never
said no.
got. So I'm spoiling her kids because I missed out as a child.
vicariously through my children. I'm like, oh, you want a doll? Sure. Auntie Danny will get you one.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
So Bear has Isabel, who was a Girl of the Year 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
She was the dancer.
which makes sense.
And,
And then
Bug.
Bug got Kit Kittredge because she really likes the name.
I loved her cute little blonde bob too. That's
And
cute.
at the time that Bug picked that out, her hair looked
Was short,
very
very
similar.
much like that.
And there's a picture of us the day that we bought her. We also ate at the American Girl Cafe.
It was fancy.
It was so much fun, and they got little cupcakes that they got to
It was super
decorate, and it was like finger food. So the girls loved it. But there's a picture of Bug sitting next to her doll because the dolls sit at the table with you. Of
course,
There's
they've got
special
little
chairs. And she looks just like the doll.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see who Bean is gonna
Bean's
pick.
Yeah.
Oh, who knows? We both kind of are disappointed that by the time her turn rolls around, what's the new one? Luciana Vega, the space girl. I know. The astronaut, space girl. I know these words. Look, it's after 11 o'clock. We're tired.
We're tired.
But we
Space
both
girl
were kind of
astronaut.
rooting for the astronaut, but I don't know that she'll still be available.
Well, we may be passing back through here in October, so if that's the case, Bean
She'll
will be
just
two.
turn 2.
So it'll be time for her doll.
Ooh, we'll think about
Speak
it.
of the devil.
Babies, wake up. The baby's been sleeping while we've been crafting, so we lucked out that we had some sister time without a bunch of kiddos. Oh, she is so cute. We're getting a sleepy baby coming over to say hi. You're not gonna see her face much. Look at that face. So tired. So sleepy. Such a
red.
redhead. Such a sweetheart. So, thank you very much for
No
coming
problem.
and doing a little feature on the podcast.
Goodbye, Podcast Land. See you next time I'm here.
So I hope you enjoyed that. I love those kids. They're just the sweetest things. Hopefully I will not take quite so long between podcasts next time. I'm done the whole marriage thing. No, I'm done the whole wedding thing. The marriage thing's just starting. But I'm done the whole getting married thing. So I don't have that to keep me busy anymore. All the family's gone back to their own homes. So I'm going to have time again. And it'll be nice. So hopefully I will see you all again in about 2 weeks. And we'll have, if anyone has entered socks, we'll have our first drawing for the Sockatumi knit along. So get your socks in. Bye guys.
Okay, can you say bye-bye?
Bye.
Bye.
We hope to be seeing you again on a podcast.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.